Darkness. A desk and a chair. Stage right. The desk is covered with many sheets of paper with various amounts of writing. Several are screwed up and tossed on the floor. Jenny sits at a desk, intently writing. She's in her early 20s every time she's at her desk. Occasionally, in frustration, she crumples up the sheet of which she is writing and begins again. Diane stands in the centre of stage left. Though Diane sees Jenny, Jenny is unaware that she shares the stage with Diane. Behind them are two large screens. They are currently off. Lights up.
Autumn. Early evening. A garden? No. Exquisite woodland glade in the midst of a park. The trees gleam with yellow and red and gold, with gold and rich russet tinted leaves. The edge of the flower bed on a bank, a chrysanthemum, deep yellow and rich amber chrysanthemum, still remains blooming, a solitary, glowing reminder of summer's earlier glory. Bravely and profoundly, the flower sways in the rising wind, eager to stand up to the oncoming onslaught for as long as it can have the strength to do so.
Year 2000, summer. I'm on the brink of my 48th birthday, and I'm wondering if I'll see my 50th. If you'd have asked me about it in spring, I would have been quite confident. A new millennium had begun, and along with the rest of the world, I was filled with optimism for the future. But now, all of a sudden, everything that was known is now unknown, and I've got to fight again.
The rising wind grows power-hungry and rough, and sweeps by in gusts of ever-increasing strength. Then, in one of the sun schools, the elegant chrysanthemum, unable to remain standing any longer, is uprooted and cast into the wind.
So, fight I will. I have a husband who has always done his best to protect me, and a daughter, Jenny, who still needs her mum. Jenny is a real child of the new millennium, always happy, always eager to get everything she can out of life now. There's no tomorrow with her, whatever she thinks of has to be immediate.
The park is nearly empty of people, the one exception being a young poet, novel, art, writer. She walks leisurely and without hurry, pausing now and again to consider her surroundings. She's endeavouring to find inspiration for her novel and is conscious not to allow any leaf or piece of sky to slip past her creative eye.
It's Jenny who I worry about the most. How will she get on without me?
It's cold, but she feels warm. It's one of those days in which she is very aware of the ground beneath her feet and the strangeness in the way the gravity never fails to hold her down. She feels vaguely elated. That pure, unadulterated joy at being alive is all-consuming.
It's barely believable that just weeks ago, my liver and bone scan showed an improvement. Now it looks as though that was just a brief lull before the storm.
As she nears the chrysanthemum, the writer's attention is caught by the strangeness, the incongruity of the uprooted summer flower against its bed of crisp autumn leaves.
Each time the phone rings, it's one of my friends wanting to know how my appointment went. I can't speak, not over the phone.
Curiously, she bends and takes the flower in her hand, admiring the way in which the orangey half-light of the setting sun casts playful shadows across its petals.
I just keep thinking, why me? I don't think I'm a particularly good or bad person, but I don't deserve this horrible disease.
determined to possess final power. With a greater force than before, it snatches up the chrysanthemum from the writer's hand.
My only ray of hope is that they're making advances all the time in cancer treatment. Perhaps not enough for me, but certainly in time for Jenny when she's grown up.
Triumphantly, it throws it to the ground once more.
As for me, I can only hope my treatment will keep the cancer at bay for a while longer.
Lights down. Scene 2. Desk chair is now centre stage. Diane sits on the chair and Jenny stands beside her. She is brushing Diane's hair. Jenny is now 8 years old and speaks and acts accordingly. Lights up.
Autumn. Jenny knows I have cancer. It was uncanny the way it came out. An item came on the television about breast cancer.
Mummy, what's breast cancer?
Here we go. It's an illness, honey. It's to do with the cells in people's bodies dividing too quickly and making lumps under their skin.
Oh. Is it catching?
No, it's not catching.
Have you got breast cancer?
Yes.
Does it hurt?
No, it doesn't hurt.
Mummy,
Yes, honey.
you need to colour your hair again. There's too many grey hairs.
Well, I haven't done anything about my hair because I've got to have it cut short again soon.
Are you going to wear a wig again? I don't like your wig.
I am, but it's going to be a different wig than the last one, so you don't need to worry.
Am I going to be able to hug you?
She was thinking of my bone scan when she wasn't allowed near me because of the radioactive dye. Yes, baby, you'll be able to hug me.
Lights down. Scene 3. Jenny is back at her desk and Diane has returned to stage left. Lights up.
My reaction to the treatment seems positive so far. I feel that the tumour is going down. It feels like more time, a bonus if you like. I've also been put on some new steroids and for a while they made me feel good. I've almost forgotten about being ill. I was tired, but full of enthusiasm. But then my hair started to fall out. I know my hair will grow again, and it's not more important than my treatment. But every time it happens, I sprayed myself all over with Chanel No. 5, and then phoned my friends Becky and Sue. They both came straight over, and Becky cut my hair really short. It looked dreadful. I put my new wig on immediately. Becky thinned out a lot from the front of the wig, but otherwise said it looked good and natural. Sue said it looked glamorous. I hope Jenny thinks that when I pick her up from school.
The wind sends the flower whirling among a shower of fallen leaves until it becomes lost in a golden cloud. The chrysanthemum is already too far gone to survive an unequal contest, and after being hurled in company with the madly dancing leaves, it falls to the ground. It lies there, fading.
Winter. It's been exhausting trying to keep a brave face on me, when deep inside I'm wondering whether this might be my last Christmas. Morbid, I know, but I think the cancer has started to come back into my breast. I haven't told anyone. The closer it gets to Christmas, the more inclined I get to leave things until after New Year. I can't see how a couple of weeks is going to make a difference. John and Jenny are both finishing for Christmas today, and I don't want to spoil anything for them.
Lights down. Scene 4. Desk chair is centre stage. Diane stands behind the chair, holding a saucepan and a wooden spoon. Jenny, nearly 9, is sitting cross-legged on the chair with a notebook and pencil. They are in the initial staging of creating a Christmas cake. Lights up.
Okay. Now, I'll keep stirring while you pop in the rest of the ingredients. Make sure you tick them off as you go.
Cinnamon, nutmeg, salt, vanilla, currants, cherries, peel, nuts. That's everything.
Good. What does Grandma's recipe say next?
Simmer gently for 15 minutes. Good. I wish I met Grandma, Mum.
I wish you had too. She was headstrong, like you. One of the stories she'd like to tell me at Christmas was about one particular Christmas Eve when I was about 4 years old. It was getting dark when I was at work, when the chimney started to blow back. She did no more than get a ladder and climb onto the roof and try to unblock it herself. It wasn't until she was up there that it suddenly occurred to her what she was doing. She'd left me and your Uncle Ted, both of us under 5, alone inside the house, and was atop of a very slippery roof. If she slid, she'd slide right off. She had to climb all the way back down as carefully as she could. She never took a risk like that again.
Sometime during her story, Diane has moved to sit down on the chair, and Jenny has settled down on the floor in front of her to listen. Diane, absent-mindedly, plays with Jenny's hair.
Couldn't she have just phoned somebody?
We didn't have a phone in those days. Grandma, Grandad, your Uncle Ted, and I were living in a little iron building called a Nissan hut. Hot in the summer and cold in the winter. 1 bedroom, a lounge, kitchen. Bluebell woods. Trees. She used to joke that she'd almost fallen off, and we were very lucky that she was still there.
What do we do when it's finished simmering, Mum?
Have a look at Grandma's recipe.
Allow everything to cool and then pour mixture into an airtight container and leave in the fridge for 7 days. A week? That's ages!
She finds a copy of Little Woman, turns to the bookmarked page and begins reading, her attention quickly elsewhere. Stage right screen turns on abruptly. It buzzes with static for several seconds, then shows Diane's face.
Am I being a martyr? 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 Am I being...
Screen flickers and power on stage appears to be cut out. Screen Diane is cut off mid-sentence and the stage is thrown abruptly into darkness. When the lights come on, Diane has returned to stage left and Jenny to stage right. Adult once more.
Should I say something? I can't keep my mind on anything else. We're supposed to have lunch with John's mother today and I really don't feel like going. This whole Christmas already feels like one big lie. I'm trying to shut up my fears until January when I go and see the consultant. Every now and then it all erupts. Life is just so unjust. All I want is to see Jenny grow up and learn to stand on her own 2 feet. Will it happen? I pray to God every night for a miracle. I need for him not to necessarily cure me, but to give me more time. I don't think he's listening. Dear God, help me overcome my fears and stay strong for my family.
Stage right, screen turns on, showing Diane's face.
Dear God, please help me stay strong for my family.
Stage left screen turns on, also showing Diane's face.
Dear God, please help me
Dear
overcome
God,
my fears.
please help me stay
Dear
strong
God,
for my
please help
family.
me overcome my fears.
Dear God,
Dear God,
please help me
please help
stay
me
strong
overcome
for
my
my
fears.
family.
Dear God,
Dear God,
please help me
please help
overcome
me
my
stay
fears.
strong for my family. Dear God, please help me stay strong for my family.
Sound mutes on screens, but they still remain on, so Diane can still be seen mouthing silently.
Finding herself powerless now to do anything more for the chrysanthemum, the writer hovers uncertainly, incapacitated, powerless, helpless, yet still reluctant to leave.
January, a new year. Physically, I'm okay, no pain. I saw the consultant today and he said the lump seemed the same to him and he wouldn't want to do any more chemo. Just
Pictures on both stage right and stage left screens show the Dr. Thomas's face. Sound returns.
Just yet. Just yet. Just yet. Just yet. Just yet. Just yet.
It made me
Just
shiver
yet.
to think I
Just
might
yet.
have to have more chemo
Just
in the
yet.
future.
Just yet.
I told the
Just
consultant
yet.
I was planning
Just
to
yet.
visit my brother in
Just
Canada
yet.
in the summer,
Just yet.
and he told me
Just
not to
yet.
book anything
Just
just
yet.
yet, and to wait until the last minute. John thinks the doctor was being cautious, but I just wish he'd said something like, "Good idea, but wait a bit before you go." I'd like a new winter coat, but I won't get a lot of wear out of it if I'm not here next winter. But then again, to hell with it. If it makes me feel good now, I'm going to go ahead and buy one.
Presently, the handsome man to whom the writer is betrothed comes along. No, to who the writer is betrothed. The handsome man to whom the novelist is engaged. No. The writer's fiancé, who has been concerned about her whereabouts, suddenly approaches. Laying a hand on her shoulder, he gently suggests they go home together. He looks at her and points at the flower on the ground. He nods, though he doesn't understand.
Jenny suddenly screws up the piece of paper and, standing, throws it as hard as she can to the ground. Pause. Then she manically pushes all the other sheets of paper onto the floor too. Lights down. Stage right screen comes on showing Doctor's face.
Statistics do indeed show 5 years to be the time most cancer patients live after diagnosis.
Screen 2 comes on showing Diane's face.
But my scans are clear, so what's going to kill me?
Scans only pick up tumours which are pea-sized, nothing smaller. The tumours may still be there, just not visible.
Canada.
I'm sorry?
Canada. I want to book the trip to Canada.
Very well. I'll put a note on your file saying you're fit to travel at present.
At present.
At present. At present. At present. At present. At present. At present.
At present.
Lights down. Scene 5. Screen 1 comes on showing Doctor's face. He is holding a clipboard.
1. Preheat oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. Take 2 cloves of goodness and crush into a paste with a little selfishness. 2. Put the paste into a bowl with 12 ounces of meaningless life experiences, 4 ounces of diced hopes, 2 ounces of fulfillment, 8 ounces of adolescent dreams, coarsely grated, and 1 heaped teaspoon of courage. Mix well together. 3. Add several measures of chemotherapy and 1 mastectomy, lightly beaten. Mix together. 4. Line a baking tray with a layer of friendly support, thinly spread. Press the mixture down into a circle and with the back of a knife mark into portions. 5. Place into the oven and allow to cook for 81.68 years or until...
Screen changes abruptly into static. The picture returns briefly.
Until...
Static. Screen flickers and then dies completely with the Doctor's sentence still incomplete. Lights up. Stage right only. Jenny stands in the midst of the mess of paper she created earlier.
Long after the writer leaves, the winds eventually drop. In the still air, the chrysanthemum flutters its bruised petals as though drawing its last breath. A shower of leaves softly flutter to the ground, creating a dazzling carpet backdrop to throw into relief the still exquisite beauty